Today, I'm going to show you guys how to build and play the Dragon Linkz deck for Digimon. Hello Digimon players and fans, welcome back to another brand new deck profile and in-depth building guide video. I personally think that the Dragon Linkz cards are really cool with their designs. We got a new form of Volacanicdramon and Metallicdramon as well that combines the strategies of both red and black together into one whole deck. There's Digivolving, deletion effects, extra security, and all these cool extra DP stuff as well. The deck really focuses on various on-play effects specifically, and it mainly utilizes everything from that. And it really comes down to Hina, which is the core tamer of this deck. Hina is especially important because she allows you to play Digimon with on-play effects to activate them while they're digivolving instead by suspending her. And that is why establishing her on the board will always be your #1 priority. We also run the Digimon package in this deck, and it takes it to a whole new level because it allows you to DNA Digivolve into a Ragnarlordmon to help finish games, especially thanks to Flamedramon from the Virus Imperialdramon deck, which lets you DNA Digivolve at the end of turn. There are some really cool combos I will be showing you guys, as well as teaching you how to play this deck as well, so definitely stick around for that. So let's begin by showing you guys what we got for the deck profile. Alright, so for the Digi-8 cards, we got the 4 copies of Gurimon, letting you draw when attacking once per turn as long as the Digimon has 6,000 DP or more. Draw power is really important for this deck because you do want to get into your top end combo pieces and find them as soon as possible. So this egg is just perfect for the deck overall. And yeah, 4 eggs is really all you need. First and foremost, let's begin with the red stuff here. We got the Volacanicdramon. Volacanicdramon is at your turn once per turn. When you do play a Hina, you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3,000 DP or less. It's inheritable, it's very similar. If this Digimon has an on-play effect when attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon that also has 3,000 DP or less. Now, I'm going to quickly jump ahead and talk about that. There's a lot of Digimon, or basically almost every single Digimon that you play, has on-play effects in this deck. And there's going to be a whole lot of synergy with having on-play effects. And I'm going to go more in detail as I go through and talk about the deck profile, but I can fully explain it more in the combo segment when we get there. But 4 copies of this Volacanicdramon. Now for the black counterpart, I guess, or the black partner type, we have the Jazzamon right here. This time is that when you do play a Hina, you get to gain a memory back. Very valuable as well. And all turns, if the Digimon that you have as its inheritable is an on-play effect, you get to get extra 1,000 DP, which is very, very helpful and very good for, buffing up and making it even stronger. Just before we continue with the video, I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for watching and supporting the channel. If you guys are watching right now and have not subscribed yet, definitely encourage you to do so. That is because we got lots of Digimon deck profiles, videos, and content on here, and there's lots to come. So turn on that notification bell while you're at it to stay tuned. Also, don't forget to give this video a like because it just greatly helps with the channel, and I really, really would appreciate it. And thank you guys again. Now we got 2 Agumons right here from Starter Deck 7, which is from the Gallantmon Starter Deck. Very similar. This one has a inheritable of, giving an extra 2,000 DP when attacking, and this Digimon attacks a player, it gets extra 2,000 DP. More DP is just really good, but very important, it actually is also a dinosaur trait, which has a lot of synergy along with our Dorbikmon, which we'll talk about more later on as well. But yeah, 2 is here what we go for. And then we're bringing back the good old BT1 Agumon right here, because this one on plays and reviews the top 5 of your deck, and you get to search, adding yourself 1 Tamer, and then you place the rest at the bottom of your deck. And this is actually really, really good because your Tamers are going to be super crucial, and it's actually your core engine and really helps your deck function in this entire deck, which is why you definitely want to play 2 copies of, and just giving you that searching power and finding that Tamer as soon as possible, because without them, or without the Tamer, specifically Hina, this deck can't function at all. So very, very important to keep that in mind, and which is why I opted in for 2 copies of this guy. Then let's move into our level 4s. Starting with the red one first, we got the Lavorvomon right here. He's an on-play searcher as well. Grabbing yourself either a Rock Dragon, Earth Dragon, Bird Dragon, Machine Dragon, or Sky Dragon in its traits, and 1 Hina among them. And then with its when attacking, exactly the same as Wolveromon with the rookie one, it basically deletes a 3000 DP or less as long as that Digimon has a play effect. Next, we have Jazardmon here. 4 copies. Does exactly the same thing as Lavavoromon with its on play, searching you exactly the same thing, grabbing you the same stuff as well. And you definitely want to maximize as many of these because you want to be finding your pieces. And more importantly, like I mentioned, you want to be finding your Hinas as soon as possible. And that is your top-notch priority with this deck. Now, its all turns effect is it's inheritable. With this Digimon has a on-play effect. It gains extra 1000 DP, which is exactly the same as Jazamon with its rookie. And this DP is actually more useful because, ranking up and it can stack up the DP power, is always very, very nice. And then last but not least, to round off for the level 4s, we've got 2 copies of Flamedramon right here. Now, I know there's a main effect that we get to see with its when Digivolving. However, we do not do any of that in this deck whatsoever. We mainly play for its inheritable, which is its end of turn DNA effect. And also, more importantly, it is a Dragonkin, which is once again a very important key card and trait that we need along to combo with Dorbikmon. And once again, you guys will really understand why we truly play this card when we get into the combo segments later on. That's it for level 4s. Let's talk about our level 5s. We first have the Volacanicdramon right here. Now this one has on play, which lets you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5000 DP or less, and then you can play one Hina from your hand without paying its memory costs. Also, its inheritable is that all turns, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, if this Digimon has a on play effect, you get to gain a memory back as well. Now, the one key thing to sort of keep in mind is that you guys probably noticed by now there's a lot of on-play effects with all these Digimon. Now, when it gets to level 5, it gets a little bit strange because you guys might be thinking, like, do I hard play this guy? Well, technically, you really don't unless you really have to and you feel like you get a lot of value and if you have a lot of memory to work with. Because once again, Hina is going to be very core and important to help you guys with these on-play effects, again, which I'll explain more when we get to Hina, and you guys will understand it more. Then we got 4 copies of Jazarichmon. This one on play de-digivolves one of your opponent's Digimon, and then also lets you play a Hina from your hand for free, which is very, very great. And with its inheritable is that your turn, while this Digimon has an on-play effect, it gains security +1, fantastic, extra power, to swing into security for extra damage, always very nice. So 4 copies of this is also really good. That's it for the level 5s. Let's talk about our level 6s. First and foremost, we have the red one. Once again, we got the 2 copies of Volacanicdramon. This one is also on play. You delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. If no Digimon is deleted by this effect, your opponent cannot play any Digimon with 5000 DP or less until the end of their turn, whether by hard playing normally, even by paying memory, or even by effects, which is really, really good. Also, when attacking, if you do have a Tamer, you get to trash your opponent's security stack first before you actually swing in for the damage is very nice. Now, this guy, we don't really need a whole lot of it. We're not really trying to focus on doing that as good as his effect actually comes in theory. But we want to save more spots because we do have quite a variety when it comes to our level 6s lineup to do even more cooler combos and plays. But yeah, that's the 2 copies of Volacanicdramon, and I really like it when we do pull off those trashing security effects. For our other main one, we actually do want to be playing 3 copies of Metallicdramon. Metallicdramon looks really cool. The middle one is the alt art and it looks absolutely fantastic. Now, on play, you de-digivolve one on your opponent's Digimon. Then you delete one of your opponent's Digimon that has a 5 cost or less. However, if no Digimon is deleted with this effect, none of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon can Digivolve until the end of your opponent's next turn. And that's the whole reason why this card is so much better compared to Volacanicdramon, because it stops so many plays. It basically stops your opponent from playing, and it has this very cool, first time unique effect that I've ever seen that it actually prevents your opponent from Digivolving. And that's very nice because it can help you buy yourself a turn and give you a whole lot of protection and really stops a lot of decks, which is why Metallicdramon is actually really good. And that's not all, because opponent's turn, while you have a Tamer in play, this Digimon gets blocker and reboot. So really nice, black type of Digimon card right here. Reboot blocker combo is always fantastic. So yeah, 3 copies is why I definitely want to, go into for this. We do have more level 6s because now finally we get to showcase you guys the 2 copies of Dorbikmon. Dorbikmon is very interesting because first and foremost it has Rush, and you're always going to be hard playing this guy with the Digicross. And by placing 5 Digicross materials, you basically effectively play this card for just 3 memory, which is very, very good. Also, on play, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less, and for each dragon and its traits, in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, including all the other traits that are within the errata as well. You basically get to increase it by 2,000 DP more, which ideally you're going to be popping something for 13,000 DP, which is always very nice. Now, what I want to talk about is the Digicross requirements. It does say Dragon, but however, there is an errata to this card which is actually supposed to include a lot more different traits outside of other than just Dragon. Now, keep in mind, Dragon actually includes any text that has Dragon in it. So it includes Earth Dragon, Rock Dragon, for example, Dragonkin, Dragon Lord, or for example, anything that has the word Dragon is included for those. Once again, I'll include a link to the errata for you guys, as well as the rulings for you guys to understand and learn more about Dorpikmon, which is why it synergizes so well, because there's everything in this deck is mainly dragons, really. And going back to the reason why we play the Agumon is because it is a dinosaur, and the dinosaur actually works with Dorpikmon for Digicrossing as well. So, once again, I'll show you guys in the combos how it all works by playing Dorpikmon later too. Because the whole reason of playing Dorpikmon is to go into our level 7 right here, Ragnarlordmon. Ragnarlordmon is one of arguably the best finishers currently in the game, just as good as Blitz Omni, but super really cool card, trashing security, removing stuff, and swinging for game. Yeah, really good, and you definitely need Dorpikmon in order to help yourself to get into Ragnarlordmon, along with Flamedramon, which once again, I'll talk more about when we get into the combos. That's it for all of the Digimon. Let's now talk about Tamers. The core Tamer of this deck that you must play. 4 copies of, no matter what, no less, which is Hina. Hina basically gives you a memory at the start of your turn if your opponent has a Digimon play, which is fantastic. And then your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Rock Dragon, Earth Dragon, Machine Dragon, or Sky Dragon as traits, basically any of your guys that has on-play effects, you can suspend her to give them the on-play effects. So that's kind of how you synergize with the whole deck. You can actually still continue to digivolve your stack or digivolve your Digimon, and then by having her, you can still use their effects on play as while you're basically digivolving, which is fantastic. And you can actually even stack her effects and repeat them again and again, which is very, very nice. And yeah, you have to have 4 copies of this no matter what, because you need to find her as soon as possible, and that is your core strategy of your early game. Next, we have 2 heroes. Memory Tamer is great. Extra DP is great. That's really all he is here all about. And yeah, you definitely need the DP gain, which is why I played 2 copies of him. That's it for all the Tamers. Let's move into options. We got 3 copies of Fireball. Fireball is actually really intended for draw power instead, rather than deleting one of your opponent's Digimon that has 3,000 DP or less, because again, finding your pieces as soon as possible and as quickly as you can is more crucial and more important in this deck overall. But however, sometimes it's good to get rid of like small stuff too. Then 1 Crimson Blaze. Crimson Blaze is really good for wideboard removal in general, just really, really nice. Stops your opponent from playing Digimon with effects as well. And yeah, Crimson Blaze is just a really fantastic meta card at the moment. Last but not least, as like sort of my spicy tech, I guess, would be Dark Gaia Force, simply because we both play black and red colors in this deck, which gives the versatility of this card being played. Very nice, because you can choose a number of Digimon with up to a total of 15 costs or less and basically wipe wide boards if you need to, or you can pop a big guy in one go. Otherwise, with its security effect, you get to delete something that is 15 play costs or less, which is essentially a lot of things in this format anyways. So it's really nice when you do pull it off of Dark Gaia Force. But if you guys don't like Dark Gaia Force because it does have a bit of heavy requirements of needing the both colors present for you to sort of use it, then more Fireballs or Crimson Blazes or even like Memory Boosts can really help your deck as well. Alright, after the deck profile, let's show you guys some combos. There isn't really any other cards I would suggest adding into this deck. I think it's fairly optimized to sort of what my liking is, and I can't really think of other spicy tech choices I can add in, but if you guys do, definitely let me know in the comments down below. So let's just jump into how you want to be playing this deck overall. Like I mentioned, super important, Hina is basically your core of the deck. Without her, your deck cannot function basically. It's very difficult to play, and I'd say most of the times you're going to start losing if you don't see Hina. And this is why it's so important for this deck. So which is why you want to use a variety of methods to find her as soon as possible. This is the reason why I play the Searching Agumon It can really help you cycle a lot of cards and increase the hit rates of finding her. Fireball for draw power, and then of course you would have your Jazzardmon as well as your Larvarvomon right here to help you do the on play and searching. So hard playing, these level 4s are not bad at all. They're 4 cost, they're relatively valuable, they give you good decent hits as well with these cards so that you can find your Hina and you just want to put it down as soon as possible. Of course, if she ever comes out with security, it's always fantastic for sure. So of course, in the same time, you want to be, hatching your egg, digivolving your rookies, which is really great because most of your rookies can go on, all your rookies essentially can go on top of a red egg, especially Jazzamon right here, and as well as your level 4s, which can go on top of both black and red as well. So really just cycle depending on what you want to do. And, let's just say you're growing your stack, and then once you have sort of like your level 5 ready, either your Jazzarichmon or your Volacanicdramon right here. You just want to make sure what your opponent has and decide, depending what they have, that's how you want to control the board. If you want to pop stuff with 5k or less, then obviously you go for the Volacanicdramon. If not, you go on the Digivolve stuff, you can go with Jazzarichmon. Now, the best value really comes out from, once you push this out, and then you Digivolve into one or the other right here, just to showcase you guys. So then, because they do have on-play effects, but once you have Hina, you can spend Hina to give them their on-play effects. And even more value is if you have more Hinas, the even better, because then you can play more Hinas with their sort of when Digivolving / on-play effects. And then the same concept basically goes towards with their Metallicdramon and the Volacanicdramon as well. Volacanicdramon is great for removing stuff, so once you go into Volacanicdramon, eventually you can suspend your Hina to basically delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. And then if you have multiple copies of Hina, you can repeat these effects again, which is really nice. So then you get to delete all of it again and then basically resolve as you go. And then same goes for Metallicdramon, which is even cooler because you can then de-digivolve twice if you have 2 Hinas. And the more Hinas you have, the more you can de-digivolve and pop stuff afterwards as well. And then even potentially stop your opponent from digivolving. So you want to be controlling the board with these guys, with your level 6s. Volacanicdramon will be your more aggressive one. Metallicdramon can be equally as aggressive as well because you can swing in with Reboot and Blocker. And that's really how you want to be playing your Digivolution line with your Dragon Linkz. Now that is basically the core concept of how you want to be playing this deck generally, and sort of apply pressure and swing and win for game. However, this is why we include the Dorbrick package as well inside here to help take this to the next level. Now, ideally, you want to be having Metallicdramon because it is your black basically requirement for your DNA into your Ragnarlord because Dorbrick is your red. In this case, it doesn't really matter how much memory you guys have usually because you can easily just pass your opponent's turn when you need to. But when you play your Dorbrickmon right here, is you want to make sure they have Flamedramon. Now, what I learned that when you play Flamedramon is you actually never ever want to be digivolving this guy in your stack because there are threats that it can get removed unless you really need to cycle the card for whatever reason. But keep in mind, there's only 2 copies in this deck, so if you lose one of them, it's very hard to, bank on getting the second one. So always make sure you keep this in your hand because when you keep it in your hand, you would put it underneath Dorbrick as one of your Digicross requirements. Now, that's not all. You can actually put even more stuff right here. You can put a Jazzarichmon, you can put a Volacanicdramon, whatnot, and anything, just trying to maximize your value by putting like 5 right here. And like I mentioned earlier in the deck profile, this is the reason why we play this Agumon, because it gives you more traits to synergize together. So we have this right here. And you want to have these 2 big stacks. Once you have got your Dorbrickmon going on, you can pop stuff. If you had memory and if you're at 0, you have memory to work with, you can rush and swing in aggressively at your opponent's security. So you have security +1 with Jazzarich right here. You can deal multiple checks with that. Keep in mind with Dorbrickmon, you have to stack different names. So you can't have the same name stuff as well underneath it. But once you do so, this is very important where the Flamedramon end of turn happens. Once you pass your memory to your opponent's side, you get to do your end of turn DNA right here with 2 giant stacks, putting it all together, and then you form yourself your big stack Ragnarlordmon, of course, to top it all off. And Ragnarlordmon will come on unsuspended because it was DNA Digivolved. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Just one short for an extra one, but since that means you have 8 for sure, you trash 2 of your opponent's security, delete 2 of their big things, and then you can swing for game right here with Ragnarlordmon. So that's really how your playstyle, and that's what you want to be doing in order to finish and win the game usually. Otherwise, if you can control enough with the board, then definitely utilize your Metallicdramons and your Volacanicdramons as much as you can at the same time to sort of, play around and deal damage. Now, also, in some of the scenarios, sometimes you might have these two. You might be growing your stack in raising, with a Agumon, a Gurimon as well, growing into Flamedramon, and then you might grow into your Lavagaratamon right here, and then once you push it up, you can go into your Volacanicdramon, and then once you're ready to finish your opponent up, then once again you can do the end of turn DNA with Flamedramon to go into Ragnarlordmon here to finish the game. So that's really it, how you want to be playing this deck. Very simple, kind of confusing at the first, but really, again, most importantly is to understand that you must have Hina to help synergize with your effects to actually pull them off, and that's how you want to play this deck overall. That will conclude for my very own deck building strategy and in-depth guide for the Dragon Linkz deck profile. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a like. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, or questions, be sure to share it with everyone in the comments down below. Overall, the Dragon Linkz deck is really fun to play. It has interesting mechanics, combos, and concepts to help you gain advantage to win. Once again, I really like the Metallicdramon in this deck, as it's one of my favorites. It has the most unique effects introduced to the game for the first time ever, which prevents your opponent from digivolving and forces them to play very awkwardly. That'll wrap up for the deck profile for today, but don't you guys worry, because we still got more dragon related decks upcoming on the channel, and I know many of you guys would like to see the almighty Dorbeckmon OTK Rush deck, as well as the 4 Great Dragons deck, which I'm currently working on. So if you guys are just as excited to see them, then be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell right now to stay tuned. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and this is Avault, signing out.